Imagine a silence so profound it's before the very idea of sound, a potential that existed before existence itself. We're going on a journey, not just back before the Big Bang, but to a place before the concept of before even made sense. We're going right to the moment the source code of reality itself was written.
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to journey from the absolute, mind-bending infinite all the way down to the deeply personal. We'll start in a realm of pure potential. Then we'll witness that very first spark of will. After that, we'll decode the act of cosmic engineering, watch the first pixel of reality literally ignite, and then see how it contains the blueprint for, well, everything. And finally, we'll bring it all home and discover what this ancient map of creation means for your world right now.
To really understand the beginning, we have to start before it. We have to try and wrap our heads around a state that is, by its very nature, completely beyond our comprehension. This is the realm the mystics call Ein Sof. This right here, this is our source code, the opening line from this part of the Zohar. And let me tell you, every single word here is its own universe. At the beginning of the king's decree. Right away, that tells you something huge. Creation isn't some random chaotic explosion. It begins with a conscious will, a focused intention. That's a profound thought, right? Mind comes before matter. Then it says he engraved engravings in a supernal purity. This isn't just cosmic art class. This is the act of imposing the very first laws and structures onto a reality that was completely formless.
So what exactly was this supernal purity? Well, it was Ein Sof, which literally means without end. Try to imagine a state so total that our basic concepts of light, dark, up, down, they just don't even apply. The Zohar describes it with these incredible negatives. No white, no black, no red, no green, no color at all. But this wasn't an empty vacuum. No. This was an emptiness just bursting with every single possibility. It was the ultimate state of pure, unexpressed potential. All right, so you have this state of perfect, silent, undifferentiated oneness. And then something happens. An impulse arises. The stillness is stirred by an act of pure will. And this is the catalyst for absolutely everything that will ever exist.
The Zohar gives this first impulse a name, Hormanuta di Malka, the king's decree. Now, don't think of this as a sound or a word being spoken out loud. It's more like a deep internal resolve from within the infinite itself. You could say it's the moment the infinite decides to know itself, not just as a static, perfect unity, but by creating a reflection, a kind of mirror, something other, through which its own endless potential can be seen and made real. Now, here's where things get really, really cool. This is an ancient mystical text, right? But its description of creation, it resonates so powerfully with our most modern ideas. To really get the secret, the sod of this whole process, we're going to use an analogy from our world. Let's call it cosmic engineering.
Okay, let's dive into this table, because it's our master key for unlocking this. First up, you have Ein Sof, the infinite. Just think of that as the raw, uncompiled source code for a massive computer program. It has infinite potential, every function is possible, but nothing's defined yet. It's just pure information waiting for a command. And that's next, the king's decree. This is the programmer hitting enter on the root command, run creation.exe. Boom. It's that moment of pure will that kicks everything off. That command starts the engraving, what the text calls glyph gloophy. This is literally the universe's operating system being written. The basic laws of physics, of metaphysics, of cause and effect. And what's powering this whole thing? The concealed lamp, the butsina de Cardanuta, a spark of blackness. That's our processor core, the CPU, drawing energy from a source that's even older than light. And the result of all this, the first point, the nakuta, emerges. That's the system's boot sequence, the very first pixel lighting up on the screen of reality.
Okay, this is so important to get. The Zohar says he engraved engravings. This isn't like a sculptor carving into a block of marble. There is no marble yet. This is the act of creating the very laws that will allow something like marble to even exist in the first place. It's the introduction of the idea of a boundary, the concept of a this and a that. Before this engraving, there's no separation at all. This act creates the very possibility of definition. It writes the rules of the game into that formless potential. It is literally the birth of structure itself. So, what does this super abstract act of engraving actually produce? This is where the whole process takes a really dramatic turn.
Out of all this, a single, infinitesimal point appears. This is the moment we go from pure, formless code to the very first flicker of concrete existence.
I mean, the Zohar describes this moment with such incredible drama. It says that from the pressure of its splitting, a single concealed supernal point shines. It's born from this kind of creative tension. And where does it come from? This is the paradox at the very heart of creation. It comes from the Batsana de Karjunata, the concealed lamp or spark of blackness. No, this isn't darkness like we think of it, the absence of light. Think of it more like a radiant, superpotent darkness, an energy so dense and primordial that our kind of light is just one tiny, limited expression of it. Light doesn't conquer this darkness, light is born from it. How amazing is that?
This first point is called Reshit. It means beginning. And this is exactly why the very first word of the entire Torah is Bereshit, in the beginning. All of existence starts right here, inside this one point. It's the primal seat of all reality. Modern physics talks about a singularity. The mystics were talking about Reshit. But this isn't just a physical point, it's a point of consciousness. It's the first glimmer of I am, from which all other awareness will eventually unfold.
Now this number 10, it seems so simple, but believe me, it is the key to everything that comes next. That single, tiny point that just emerged, it's not empty. It's a seed. And just like a seed, it contains the complete, entire blueprint for the tree that's going to grow from it. This one little point contains the latent potential of all 10 Sephiroth, the 10 divine emanations or archetypes that form the fundamental structure of all existence. Everything from the superconscious crown Keter, down through the intellect, the emotions, and all the way to Malkut, our physical reality, all of it is packed, almost like a hologram, into that first single point.
So, how in the world do we get from this single, super information-dense point to galaxies and stars and planets and us? Well, this point begins a process of unfolding, of emanation. The blueprint that's packed inside it starts to express itself layer by complex layer.
To look at this from a different angle, let's switch our analogy. If the cosmic engineering idea was for the architect behind the scenes, this next one is for the player. It makes it a little more accessible. Let's imagine all of creation as the ultimate, divinely coded video game. So it all breaks down into this 4-step rendering process. First, the divine coder has the big idea and writes the root command, run creation. That's our primal will, the Hormenuta de Malka. Second, the first point appears. That's the system booting up, the little power-on light blinking on, the first pixel on the screen. Third, the 10 Sephiroth, the fundamental archetypes. They start to load. This is the game's engine being installed. All the rules of logic, emotion, physics, and spirituality that are going to govern this new world. And finally, once that architecture is in place, reality as we know it begins to render, level by level, all from that initial line of code. And this just shows you the sheer information density that's packed into that first moment. That one point has the seed of all 10 Sephiroth. It holds the potential for every color, which the Zohar says start to differentiate first as white, representing pure mercy or hesed, and red, representing judgment or gevura. But these aren't just colors, they're the fundamental polarities of existence, expansion and contraction. It's also the origin point of all 22 Hebrew letters, which the mystics see as the literal vibrational building blocks of reality, the DNA of the cosmos. Everything that will ever exist is just a unique combination of these primal forces and letters, and it was all encoded in that initial point. Okay, we've traveled to the very edge of existence. We've watched the first pixel of reality ignite. It's a fascinating story, an incredible piece of mystical poetry, for sure. But it's not just a story. The real question is, why does this ancient blueprint matter to you? Let me just ask you a direct question. If this entire process we've just laid out is the template for all existence, if every star, every atom, every single thought is an expression of this original divine source code, then what does that make you? The answer, the really profound secret, is that you are not just a result of this process. You are an expression of it. This primordial engraving wasn't some one-time event that happened billions of years ago. It is the continuous, moment-to-moment process of reality coming into being. And that same blueprint, that same structure of a single point of consciousness unfolding through 10 archetypal energies, that is the map of your own soul. The cosmos is within you. The source code is running in you, right now. Every choice you make is an act of creation, another line of code being written. Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.